Good morning. Welcome back. It's Monday. We got a gloomy day, but overall the hurricane has turned out to be a relative dud for us from a rainfall perspective. Let's see. It started raining on Saturday, Friday night, and since then we've had about 1/10 of an inch of rain. So not anything really significant, but it's been consistent, just light, misty crap. So we have not been able to be in the fields, have not done any harvesting since Friday night when we had that nice big day combining beans there. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to do any beans today or tomorrow. There was a better chance of actual rain tomorrow. We'll see if that happens or not. It is what it is. We got a few signs to clean up. Dad's been pulling some out of some fields for me, so we're going to put some of those away here this morning. And then we gotta go check our Emergence flagging trial. You guys remember that from way back in the spring? We're gonna go pull those ears here this morning. We might harvest some corn today and do my high management plot this afternoon. So we're kind of getting ready for that. All right, well, we got all our signs cleaned up and put away. We might go grab a few more if I go past any. But we need to go grab our Emergence flagging ears. I'll explain when we get there. So we're going to walk out into this field a little ways, and straight out here from the driveway, I have our Emergence flagging trial. And if you've been around long enough, you will remember this from last year or maybe even this spring when we put out the flags. But essentially, what we did was after we planted, we came out here and kind of checked on this corn every day as it was coming out of the ground. And as we had new plants emerge, let's see, where's my flag? We put a different colored flag based on what day they emerged. And so it's somewhere right out here, not too far. And what we're gonna do now is pick all of the ears based on the color of flag that is next to that plant. That way we can see if there's a difference in the ear size on day 1 emergers, day 2 emergers, day 3 emergers, or later, and compare them. So I gotta find the trial. It's out here somewhere. I found it. Okay, so here's our trial. So the white flag marked the start of the trial, and then you can see every plant has a different color or a colored flag next to it. The green ones were the first day. The first day we had any plants come out of the ground, those ones were included. The blue ones were day 2s. It says day 2 on that flag. Day 2. The yellow ones were day 3, and then red is day 4 or later. Now, there's not very many red, 3 or 4 maybe. And there's only 1 or 2 yellows. The rest were all blues and greens. So what we're going to do is go through and pick all of the green flagged plant ears and put them in a bucket along with a green flag. And then we'll do all the blue flags. And then we'll do the yellow and the red, and we'll try and keep them separate in the same bucket because there's not very many of those. So one thing to note, you'll know, well, if you watch any of the other guys in Ohio or places around that had the hurricane damage from the weekend, that their corn was going down pretty bad. I have not seen any of ours down. However, I am noticing a lot more of the tops being broken off. Now, that doesn't really matter, but I'm also noticing, just looking at some of these stalks, that they start to bend off or break off. The pinch test down here, where we pinch the base of the stalk, those are hollow. This corn will not stand for long. We're going to come shell it today. All right, I've got all 4 different ears done. All the ears are gone from this this trial here. They're all in the buckets. We've got our day 1s, day 2s, days 3s, and then the day 4s are the ones that I husked all the husks off so that we can tell a difference. So I'm gonna pull the flags just so they're not left out here, and we're gonna take these back to the seed warehouse and lay them out. We'll come over here and work off the pumpkin trailer. Notice it's a lot emptier than it used to be. My wife has given away hundreds of pumpkins. We've sold a few pumpkins, and we've got a few left, and there's still some growing, but we're making progress on the whole pumpkins thing. Anyway, all right, let's get our day 1s and lay them out. We'll Clean the spot off here, and I'm gonna take the husks off and lay them out kind of in order by size. Okay, before we look at these ears, I feel there are some things that it's important that I mention. Number one, last year when we did this, we flagged the last planted field, right? It was towards the end of the planting window. It was warm. Everything came up nice and even. We had very little variation. I think it was all day 1 and 2, except for maybe 1 or 2 plants that were day 3. So there wasn't a lot of variation between the emergence. This year I wanted to do something different, so we flagged a field that was planted the first day we planted corn. This was not super early because we started planting a little late, but it was the earliest stuff that we did. Okay, so we have more variation in emergence. That's why we have some day 1, 2, 3, and 4 emergers. 2, the spot in the field where we flagged this was by no means the best spot in the field. This was on top of a clay knob because it was next to the driveway and it was close. That's why we picked the spot, so I didn't have to walk through the whole dang field trying to find my plot, and it was convenient to get to. And 3, there were 2 skips, I believe. So I think we planted at a rate of 33,000. I haven't counted the ears here, but I remember from the spring, I think we had 31,000 plants emerge. We'll count the ears here, but there were 2 skips. Those skips were next to 1 day 4 emerger, 2 day 3 emergers, and I think 1 day 2 emergers. And so when you get a skip next to a plant, that plant can compensate and make a little bit of a bigger ear, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that here. So let's see what we've got. All right, so here are the ears. So clearly we had more day 2s than day 1s, 3s, and 4s. We had 7 day 1s, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 day 2s. So what's that, 20? And then we had 6 day 3s, that gets us to 26. And then we had 4 day 4s, that gets us to 30. So we lost a plant somewhere between emergence and putting on a harvestable ear, assuming that I remember right, and we had 31 of the 33 emerge. So the next thing you'll notice is that these really taper off. We've got some pretty small ears on the end of the day 2s here. The day 1s, yep, we lose a little bit of size on some of those. They're not totally even, but they're a lot more consistent than the day 2s. The day 3s actually are fairly consistent as well. Get a little bit smaller, but some of our nicest ears are right here. But like I said, those are the 2 that were next to a skip. So they kind of compensated for the missing plant there a little bit. And then our day 4s, smaller overall, but consistent, although there's just not enough numbers of them for them to tail off like these other ones did. So what are we trying to learn here? Well, number one, on the emergence side, just take the ears out of the equation, but in the spring what we learn is my plants are doing a good job, right? Am I getting the seed at a consistent depth, at a consistent moisture, a consistent closure to the seed trench so that we have good seed to soil contact on all the seeds so that they come up relatively evenly? We can answer that just from the emergence stuff. And we had, what did we have here? 20 of the 30 ears that came up in the first 2 days. Well, you could say that's 48 hours, and realistically it's 36 to 24 because, you know, it was 24-hour difference between when I went out and flagged those 2. So that's not bad. I don't think that's terrible, especially for being early in the planting season, for being maybe a touch on the wet side planting conditions when we were out there, because you know, it was May 2nd or 3rd when we planted, and we're like trying to get it done. I'd have to go back and check the weather, but it may have been a little cool. The stuff coming up, it just takes a little bit longer when it's early. When we did it last year and we had it later planted, they all came up within 2 days. That means my planter is doing okay. So I'm not totally upset with that. And then we can see the importance of that even emergence here, and that's what these ears show us. Now, I don't know if it shows up as well here as what we kind of expected. In theory, the expectation is that your day 1 ears are by far your best. Your day 2 ears are then next, but more, maybe a little bit smaller. I don't like seeing these small ones here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ears in the day 2s that I think are just like, they should not look like that. And then you would want your day 3s and 4s to shrink down a little bit more and to be even a little bit less even. Now, one thing I do remember from picking the ears now and from when the flagging in the spring is that, so our plot was 17 feet 5 inches long, right? 1/1000th of an acre. But on like the south half of it, we had mostly days 1 and 2 On the north half of that, we had mostly days 3 and 4. It was like there was a little bit of a split in that plot and how they emerged. It just took an extra day. And so it wasn't like we had day 1 emergers next to our day 4 emergers. The day 4s were next to the day 3s. The day 3s were next to the 2s. So there was not that big of a discrepancy from day to day. You know, it wasn't as severe as what you would normally get with this. I don't know. This isn't quite the result that I was expecting. This really disappoints me here. I don't know what the heck happened with this ear. Good luck counting the rows and kernels on that one. It's not a bad ear, just sporadic. But yeah, it's a result. It is what it is. I don't know that it's super, super critical like some of the companies will tell you that everything emerges within 24 hours of each other, because, I don't know, these two came up a day later. Them are pretty nice ears. Heck, these are pretty nice ears. I would take those over these every time. So, do we want to do a good job? Absolutely. But is it super critical? Well, not in this plot it wasn't. Maybe in other plots it is. I did treat a little wheat on Saturday. This is for us that needs to get planted yet. And we might get some wheat planted today too. That's on the list. Looks like Dad got some ripper points wore out. We had a new set of these, so he just looks like he replaced the ones that were bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 9. Yep, they're wore out. Next on my list of things this morning, so Phil went to Berkey's. Well, yeah, he went to Berkey, but he's getting a truck and he's hauling some beans to town, and we're waiting for him to get back before we might go and shell some of that corn. But anyway, so I'm moving some dirt. We got a bare spot back here where we got a little extra dirt we can scoop out. So I got the scraper hooked up to the 7520, and we're moving some of this up to along my driveway, starting to grade that off so I can get some grass planted. This is the first I've used this new scraper Dad got last summer, and well, there's still a learning curve to it. That one's not too bad. I didn't get it totally full, but it's all right. Got sort of long hauls up there to the house. It takes a little time. We don't need a huge amount of dirt, so it's not a lot of trips, but the fuller you get them, the less trips it is. All right, I'm done moving dirt. I was going to show you what I did down there, and it's fine. We'll show you later. Just moving dirt at this point. So, it's about 11 o'clock. We are going to try and shell some corn today. Dad took some samples of some ears on a different field of 110-day corn that he tested at 21%, which I was a little surprised to hear. And with the stalk issues that I saw there this morning, we should shell corn when we can shell corn, and we can't do beans. And we can't do beans today, and we can shell corn, so we're going to do it. So we need to take the header carts over to the field where the combine is, from where we finished up Friday, and get the head dropped. Start getting the combine ready to go for corn. Phil should be back sometime soon. I don't know. So the Andersons in Toledo along the river they got a little bit of a premium for soybeans right now. They're paying 25 cents better than most of the other places that are taking beans right now, or something in that range. And so we're going to have extra soybeans, more than we can store in the bin, more than our fall contract. So he was hauling some down there and kind of taking advantage of the high prices, the better prices. It's not high, they're better right now. So that's what he's doing. We're waiting for him to get back from a load from Toledo. I got to find a different receiver for my truck. We'll go ahead and get the head unhooked here and put it on the trailer. We should probably do a little maintenance on our combine. Hit some grease zerks, tighten some chains, just double check some stuff while we got a few minutes here this morning. Got the combine brought back here. We've got a few minutes, so I want to tighten up this chain. This is the feeder house drive chain, and it stretches. It's a little loose, so we're going to loosen this up, slide it forward to take some slop out of it, and tighten it back up, and it should be good for a while then. Well, while we're looking at stuff here, our clean grain chain, it's not terrible loose, but that's a little loose, so we're going to go ahead and tighten that up. Same thing with the tailings. Basically, we got to loosen up these bolts. and then push this down and tightens it up. Okay, so I let it down some, and now it still pulls away a little bit. Okay, going a little more. I was going to show you that's about how far we had to go down, kind of to the point where it doesn't drop on its own now. Basically, you want that chain to be able to move side to side, but not pull away from that sprocket. So we need to go a little bit more. All right, there's not a lot of grease zerks on here that need to be done frequently, but we got all the 50-hour zerks and one 10-hour zerk. All right, well, we got the head hooked up. I added a little bit of hydraulic oil because the engine gear case was a little low and the reservoir was a little low. Let's go shell some corn. Dad and Phil are getting the grain cart. Some days it's hard being an idiot. Today's one of those days. Dang it! I made a mistake. I made a stupid mistake because I was in a hurry. It's all right. Minimal cost, but it could have been really bad. Let me tell you. So when we have to set our head on our header trailer, there's a couple of stock stompers that are in the way. That one and that one. And that one we can just flip upside down and it goes above the tire. It's not a big deal. That one you actually have to take it off. And when we take it off, I usually set it in the head so I don't forget it. Well, that's a dumb thing to do because then I forgot to put it back on and I started the combine and I turned the head on and all of a sudden I see a stock stomper go flying through the auger. I'm like, oh, shut her down, shut her down. And I got it shut down right as it hit the feeder house. And we pulled it out and that's it. It's a little damaged, but not terrible. I broke, however, the spring clip. So it would fall off if I didn't have that. So we pulled off another one that I don't really need that's in the center of the head. So we're missing the stock stomper at the moment because I broke a clip. If that's the worst of it though, we did okay because that could have been really bad really fast. Okay, well the corn on these ends is a little wet, but this is a 110-day variety here. What we're after is that, and there's two different varieties out there. We've got 103 right there, and then right there, right up here is the 105-day. You can see right there it gets taller. That's my high management standard practice ply, and I'm really, really interested to see how good that corn is out there. So we're gonna find out. But we gotta get the end rows off around it. We've got some, maybe 2 rounds or so up here on the end of the 110-day, and then we get the back ends, and then we can do about half of this field is 103 and 105-day that I expect to be pretty dry. And we're gonna weigh some strips out of there, take some samples, try and get really accurate information and data on it. I know it's the edge, but this looks like really good corn in here. It is really good corn. It is wet though, 28. Yeah, heck yeah, that's awesome. This field might average 200 if we can get a few of those numbers on the board. That's good. Oh yeah. Yeah, so we got to get this 110-day stuff out of the way so that we can get to the other stuff. I don't know that we'll finish this field after that. Actually, let me do this and this. There you can see, so the light pink around is the 110-day. We're after the purple and the brown, but we gotta get these end rows out of the way, and we'll probably do this a little bit over here because we're here. And then by the time we get all of that done, there won't be that much left, so we'll probably end up finishing it, but that's what's out here. All right, so we are getting the 110-day corn off of the sides here. I've got one more pass of it there. I did make a pass on the other side of the plot of it just to kind of outline it and frame it here. We're gonna have to wait on Phil to get trucks a little bit, but then we'll start taking some samples. It'll slow me down quite a bit. I guess this is gonna be pretty good corn. Yeah, it's pretty sustained running in the 240, 250 range. It is very wet here. It'll be really curious to see if the early corn drops off much and how much drier it is, but yeah, that's good corn. It's really good corn. You can see over here on my iPad that one strip we made down the middle, and you see how it's orange right there? You see that? We'll see my driveways right here, and that's where my flagging plot was. It was in the orange spot, the spot that was no good, 160 to 170. That's why those ears were sort of little and some of that stuff, because it's just a crappy spot of the field, like I said. All right, so we're jumping into our plot now. This is the 105 day. It's 05U08. Is that right? I think that's right. 05. It says it right there. 05U86 DV, which stands for Duricade Viptera. So this has got rootworm and corn borer protection, plus the Viptera trait for corn earworm, western bean cutworm, that kind of stuff. Anyway, standing really, really well. I like that about it. But this is the untreated side, or standard practice. So there's no fungicides, no wide drop nitrogen, no foliar feeds, none of that stuff. And it's yielding really well. But it's not yielding as well as what the 10L, the 110 day, was around it. Now we'll see when we get over there into the treated side how much of a difference there is. That's what we're trying to decide here, or trying to test here, is how much yield gain do we get doing additional stuff to our corn, meaning treat it with fungicides, push it with some foliar feeds, all of that kind of stuff where we take care of it and push it. How much do we add? And does this hybrid respond different than that hybrid? And so that's why we have two different hybrids out here. We'll try and do a couple of replications if we can.
It looks taller, almost looks like it's standing.
It is definitely, the stalks are in better shape.
Better shape.
It is tough to tell for you guys here, I'm sure, but it definitely, this is the 05 in the treated section, and the rows are much cleaner. The plant is much healthier. It's brighter color. And so far it's yielding better. Now we'll see. We're verifying all of this with the grain cart, and I think the combine may be just a little high on our yields. So we'll get that adjusted, but it seems much better here. Now I don't remember what that pass over there yielded. I think it was 211, something like that. Oh yeah, we are wetter, aren't we? 21 versus 23. Although the 10L that was around the outside that the combine said was 27, Phil tested at 24. So this is why we verify stuff with the scale on a grain cart and our actual moisture tester instead of trusting the combine, because it's not always the most accurate. But I will give up 3 points of moisture for 30 bushel of yield every single time. Well, according to the combine, those last two rounds, so we were 213 at 21.3, 21.4 moisture versus 229 at 22 moisture. So it was really less than a point difference in moisture, and picked up, what's that, 15 bushel, 16 bushel? We'll see. We'll verify all that, but it at least was better. Enough better? I don't know, but better. All right, now we're in the 103 day untreated or standard practice. So no high management stuff. Now when I flew the drone over this field 2-3 weeks ago, this was the strip that you could see that was just dead. It was dead. And over there it was still sort of green at that time. This got tar spot in it really bad. Both of these, the 105 and the 103, and I shouldn't say really bad. I mean, it came in late and it did make a difference, but we didn't spray any fungicide on it, so we kind of expect that to an extent. The other thing that I noticed was there were some pockets that looked like it had some really bad coon damage. I don't see it right here, but we will have to kind of keep an eye on that, because that does skew the results of our test. So we'll see. Now this 103 day hybrid has been talked up like you would not believe within my seed company, and we're expecting great things from it. Maybe not in this strip, but certainly over there in the treated strip. So this is the first real look I've had at it, and I mean, really the stalks are in pretty good shape for as windy as we were and as early as this corn is, and it says it's 20%. So far, looks really good. That is all deer and coon damage, and you can see it on the yield map. See where it all of a sudden turned red? Yeah, that's gonna skew our plot. All right, now we're in the 03U on the treated side, the high management. Still got a few tops broken out, but for the most part standing a little bit better. We did have quite a bit of coon damage in the back on that untreated side of it. We'll see if we've got that over here or not. But it's good corn here. We'll see. We're gonna, yeah. I've got a strip, another pass over there that's kind of in the middle of these that it's, instead of doing a full round, we can only do one pass, but we're gonna try and do that just to get a second replication of all these trials, I guess. All right, so this strip is on my 103 day. We're back in the standard side of it. But if you look out there, does it show up? You can actually see the difference. That's the same variety. That's just fungicide on that side and not on this side. And it certainly shows up. So we're doing this one, it's just 8 rows. Instead of making a full round, we're just doing one pass, and we'll drive up and weigh it just for a second replication of it, and trying to get some without this significant amount of coon damage that we had over there. All right, well, we're done collecting samples from individual stuff here. This is the split between the high management and the standard. We're right on that middle one, so this section is no good anyway. But take a look at our map here. Look where we are filling in that gap, and look how much greener it is on the right side of that than the left side. That's the difference that the yield made, right? It definitely showed a yield response. Now we'll have to go and test and get our actual yield difference, and then figure out our cost and everything and see if it made an economic difference, but it certainly made a yield difference. You'll also notice those red streaks at the end there on some of those, not on others. That's the 103 day. The closer we got to the trees, the more coon damage there was. The 105 day didn't have it, and frankly, there was less coon damage in the treated, or the high management, than there was in the untreated. Is that because the treatment for some reason kept the coons out? I don't know. If the treatment had something to do with it, theoretically that's part of the result and should be factored in. But usually we throw out things that have wildlife damage as being, you know, non-good data. So anyway, we're going to shell the rest of this off and get our grain cart filled up, and then we'll go test our samples. They are also part of the problem. Get out of here. Go to somebody else's stuff. Time to go test our samples. All right, well, we got our test results, test results, and we got to enter all that stuff into the spreadsheet, and it'll kick out the yields and stuff. I also found a clip for my pins, so we're going to put our stalk stomper back on. Start the combine up here, and we'll keep going on this too. Probably going to finish it. We haven't had anything wetter than 24 yet, so no reason we can't. Well, I guess we're going to finish the field here. The corn's a little wetter over here on this side. We're back in that 110 day, but there's not a lot of acres of it left. We might as well just finish it while we're here, kind of thing. So our yields are steadily climbing. We're about broke 200 average for the field. There's some really, really good stuff out in the middle, but all that red up there along the trees and from the raccoons, it kills an average. It takes a lot of 250 bushel corn to average up a lot of 50 bushel corn. I am convinced that a large reason, or a large portion of the reason why the I states, Illinois, Iowa, and Indiana for the most part, have such high yields on corn and crops compared to us is because they don't have any trees, right? Like, the center of my fields is pretty dang good. It's competitive. I know we don't have the soil types that they do, or the depth of the topsoil, and so we're at a lot more risk of dry weather and too wet of weather and all kinds of other stuff. But with the right weather conditions, we can hang with the yields of the I states in the main part of the field. The problem is we have trees around most of our fields, or at least most of our fields have some trees somewhere. It gets worse the farther east you go. I know the guys out in Pennsylvania, like, they got trees all the way around their fields, and their fields are 15 acres on average. Well, when the wildlife and the trees destroy the outside, 80 feet, 60 feet, all the way around the field like that, it just kills an average. It takes so much to average that up, and so that's a big part of the reason why they get such good crops out west, is because they don't have those trees along the outside like we do. I was waiting on Phil to get here and empty the grain cart for me, so I thought I'd get out and check our losses a little bit, just see how we're doing. Pretty freaking good. That's so here's our row, so we're 30 inches wide. That's more than a foot. I found that kernel. There's some little ones here, but I mean, those are underdeveloped ones that come off the tip. Like, there's nothing you're gonna do about those. That's quite acceptable losses. We'll take it. So this farm is mostly high ground. It sits fairly flat, but then there's a big drop off and kind of a bowl over here a little bit. We've got a big wet hole over there that we kind of farm around. That's what this curve is on that side. But this low ground is all going to be outstanding corn, like just off the charts good yield. But it's going to be wet. You can see the green leaf tissue down there yet. It's definitely wet corn, but there's not that much of it. We're just going to go ahead and get it out. But yeah, look at that yield monitor climbing. 290, 270s. She's green. She's real green. %. Now, our moisture tester is testing wetter than what that corn actually is. But, yeah. Hit 3? No. There it is. There's quite a delay to what the yield monitor's reading and what you're actually in, because it's got the grain has to work its way through the whole system. So yeah, you get in that really green stuff and it's 300 bushel corn in spots there. Impressive. We made it. Got this field done. 35 acres, just shy of 35 acres. So gonna break 200. We're 203. It was up to 205, and then we did this stuff in the back over here that was no good. So we'll take it. We will take it. Coon in the trees. Outside of that, it was really good corn in the middle of the field there. All right. Well, we got to get the combine home for fuel and figure out what we're going to do tomorrow. It's supposed to be more rainy tomorrow than today was, which it didn't rain at all today. So we'll see. But point is, no sun tomorrow, and we're going to need some sun before we can run any beans. So I don't know if we will try and find some more corn tomorrow or not. This stuff was not dry for the most part, so I don't know if we have anything drier anywhere else or not. I don't know. We'll plant some wheat if we can. Dad's gonna run the ripper. We got other things to do. I could go do some seed business stuff, so we will see. But let's get stuff moved home here. Okay, well, we're getting stuff fueled up. Phil's got trucks empty. We should go get the grain cart, but it can sit there until tomorrow. Ooh, that's still going. The 305 gallons. All right. We're drying into the bin for right now, but we've got 2 loads of beans left in the overhead bin that we're going to try and get hauled out in the morning. I think Phil's going to work on that. And then we might dry corn into the overhead and haul some more dry corn in. It's a good thing to do. Like I said the other day, you know, when we can haul stuff when we can't be in the fields or whatever, it helps us save time later. So I don't know if we're going to shell anything tomorrow. We might try and plant some wheat. It's supposed to be raining. We'll see if it actually does. When they tell me it's going to rain, it generally doesn't, or we don't get enough to matter. So yeah, we'll find something to do tomorrow. Thanks for watching today. If you would subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button and like the video, I'd appreciate that. More harvest content coming. Tomorrow's October 1st, so we got a good start, but we got a long ways to go. Have a good night.